If you're a die-hard Browns fan and love breaking down the game like we do, hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell so you never miss a blitz. Cleveland, you might want to buckle up because things just got a whole lot more interesting. In the quarterback room, the Browns made some noise during the 2025 NFL draft, not with just one quarterback pick, but two. Dillon Gabriel was the first to hear his name called, and while he came off the board earlier, it's the day 3 pick that's really stirring the pot. Shedeur Sanders, that's right, the son of day-on primetime Sanders himself. And even though he was selected in the 5th round, it's Sanders who's been lighting up the media buzz, getting fans to sit up and pay close attention. Why? Because to many, Shedeur wasn't just another late-round gamble. He was a first-round talent who slipped, for reasons still unclear, right into Cleveland's hands. And now that he's in town, folks are wondering, could he actually be the Browns quarterback of the future? Veteran sports voice Bruce Drennan certainly thinks so, or at least he's leaning that way. On his latest show, Drennan was posed with a tough question. Which rookie quarterback has the best shot at carving out a long-term future with the Browns? It's not an easy call. After all, Dillon Gabriel is no slouch. He's a polished passer with mobility, and he arrived in Cleveland with a little more draft pedigree. But Drennan didn't hesitate for too long. Gotta say Sanders, he admitted with a hint of conviction. And then he backed it up, breaking down Sanders' college game with a keen eye. At Colorado, under his father's guidance, Sanders piled up yardage. Yes, often on safer screenplays, but there's nuance there. It wasn't just checkdowns for the sake of it. It was about play design, rhythm, and letting talent like Travis Hunter do what they do best once the ball was in their hands. Drennan pointed out something that's often overlooked in scouting reports. You get the ball into Hunter's hands, he said, and he could take it all the way. That's not just about statistics. It's about decision-making, timing, and a quarterback's trust in the system. Sanders, despite what critics say about his style being too screen-heavy, actually showed a very advanced understanding of situational football. He didn't force the deep ball unless it was there. He read defenses, he stayed poised, and for a rookie trying to make his mark in the NFL, that kind of football IQ can be gold. Especially in Cleveland, where the quarterback situation has been, well, let's just say less than stable for the better part of 2 decades. What's more, Shedeur isn't sulking about being a 5th-round pick. He's not out there complaining or trying to prove people wrong on social media. No, this kid showed up to rookie minicamp with a chip on his shoulder, but not the arrogant kind. He's focused, he's locked in, and according to early reports, he's been turning heads from the very first snap. Coaches are impressed, teammates are noticing, and suddenly that crowded quarterback depth chart is starting to feel a little more like an open competition than we expected. Because let's not forget Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett, Dillon Gabriel, they're all in the mix. But Sanders, he's not just part of the crowd, he's demanding attention with every rep. Now, don't get it twisted. This is still a packed quarterback room. Joe Flacco, the wily vet, brings playoff experience and leadership. Kenny Pickett is still trying to find his footing in the league, but brings toughness and familiarity with NFL speed. Dillon Gabriel, as mentioned, has his own strengths. Quick release, mobility, and a gamer mentality. But what Shedeur Sanders brings might be something different. Something this franchise has been chasing for years. Swagger, composure, and that elusive it factor. The kind of presence you can't teach. And it's not just about his last name. It's how he carries himself, how he leads in the huddle, and how he sees the field when the bullets start flying. Bruce Drennan's take might have raised some eyebrows, but it shouldn't surprise anyone paying close attention. Sanders' draft. Slide was one of the more puzzling moments in the 2025 NFL draft. Some chalked it up to questions about his transition from the Colorado system. Others pointed to the lack of traditional pocket tape or concerns about his offensive line bailing. Him out in college. But since stepping into Cleveland, he's been all business. No flash, no distractions, just solid footwork, sharp reads, and a willingness to compete. That says something. And with OTAs and training camp coming soon, don't be shocked if Sanders keeps climbing the pecking order. The Browns have a long history of quarterback experiments. From top draft picks to midseason trade flings, it feels like they've tried it all. But what if the answer finally came in the 5th round? Wearing number 2 with primetime DNA and a calm command of the huddle? It's early. way too early to crown anyone. But there's a real sense of momentum building around Sanders already. He's not just surviving rookie camp, he's excelling. And in a league that never stops looking for the next breakout QB, sometimes all it takes is one opportunity and a player who's hungry enough to seize it. It also helps that Sanders is already connecting with the younger players on the roster. Chemistry isn't built overnight, but reports suggest that his leadership qualities are starting to surface. He's vocal when he needs to be, encouraging in down moments, and quick to take responsibility for mistakes. These are small things, sure, but in a locker room, they matter. You want your quarterback to be the guy others rally around. Sanders has that aura, even as a rookie. And with a few standout throws at camp already circulating in Browns media circles, fans are starting to whisper, what if this is the guy? Of course, we're still months away from real decisions being made. Preseason games, joint practices, and injuries, or the lack of them, will shape how the quarterback competition evolves. But don't be surprised if by mid-preseason, Shedeur Sanders is getting meaningful reps with the first team. Because if he continues on this trajectory, Cleveland will have no choice but to take a serious look. It's a quarterback-driven league, and while experience counts, so does upside. Sanders has plenty of it, and the Browns might just have stumbled onto a diamond in the rough. So here's the bottom line. The Browns might have pulled off a quiet steal in the 2025 draft. While everyone was focused on the flashier names and first-round grades, Cleveland stayed patient. They trusted their board, and now they have two intriguing rookies, Gabriel and Sanders, fighting for a future in the Dawg Pound. But if Bruce Drennan's instincts are right, and if early camp impressions hold true, then Shedeur Sanders might just be more than a great story. He might be the next face of the franchise. And in a city starving for a quarterback to believe in, that might be the most exciting prediction of all. Enjoying the content so far? Smash that like button and drop your take in the comments. We want to hear what you think about the Browns this season. Ladies and gentlemen, buckle up because the NFL world just got rocked to its core. In what might be the most shocking move of the offseason, maybe even the past decade, Aaron Donald, the three-time Defensive Player of the Year, future Hall of Famer and absolute nightmare for quarterbacks, is no longer a Ram. That's right, he's taking his talents to the Cleveland Browns. I'm telling you, this isn't just a headline. This is a seismic shift in the balance of power in the AFC. People were still debating if Donald would retire, and now, boom, he signs a mega deal with a team most didn't even have on the radar for this kind of move. What happened behind the scenes? How did the Browns pull this off? And what does this mean for the league going forward? Let's break it all down. First of all, let's acknowledge the gravity of what this move means. Aaron Donald wasn't just a great player. He was the defensive anchor of the Los Angeles Rams. He was the face of that franchise. He brought a Super Bowl to LA, dominated every snap he played, and set a standard for excellence we haven't seen on the defensive line in a generation. For years, people asked, what would this Rams defense be without Donald? Well, now, we're about to find out. But more importantly, we're about to see what a Cleveland Browns defense with Donald looks like. And that, my friends, is a terrifying thought. Myles Garrett on one side, Donald on the interior. I mean, come on. This might be the most devastating defensive front we've seen in recent NFL history. Now, let's talk numbers, because this wasn't just a signing. This was a blockbuster financial statement. Reports say the deal is worth upwards of $95 million over 3 years, with massive guarantees that make Donald one of the highest paid defensive players in NFL history. Again, and honestly, he deserves every cent. You don't just get a pass rusher with Donald. You get a leader, a culture setter, and a guy who demands the best out of everyone around him. That kind of presence is priceless in a locker room, especially in Cleveland, a franchise that's been teetering on the edge of greatness but just couldn't quite get over the hump. This might be the piece that pushes them over. The Browns front office deserves a standing ovation for pulling this off. Let's be real. This came out of nowhere. No major leaks, no weeks of speculation. They operated in silence and struck like assassins in a night. Think about what this says to the rest of the league. Cleveland is all in. This isn't about building slowly anymore. This is about winning now. After years of being the NFL's punchline, the Browns are making moves that say, we're here to contend. They've already got a solid offense, a top-tier run game, and now with Donald and Garrett, they might just have the most feared defensive duo in the league. But let's not forget how we even got to this point. There were rumors that Donald was considering retirement, and not just idle chatter. He's been vocal about life after football, about wanting to go out on top, and not overstaying his welcome. That's what makes this move even more fascinating. Donald didn't just keep playing. He chose to play somewhere entirely new, and not just for the money. This was about legacy, about proving he can thrive outside of the Rams system, and maybe even about chasing one more ring with a team that's hungry, underdog-spirited, and ready to shock the world. And who better to lead that charge than Aaron? Freaking Donald? Let's take a second to imagine what this means schematically. You got a defense now with Donald collapsing the interior and Myles Garrett demanding double teams on the edge. That's going to force offensive lines into impossible choices. You can't block both with just 5 linemen. Someone's always going to get through. Quarterbacks are going to have milliseconds to react. This will free up linebackers, allow blitzes to be more effective, and completely change the way opponents game plan against Cleveland. This isn't just a talent upgrade, it's a strategic earthquake. Every offensive coordinator in the AFC is currently losing sleep over this. And don't overlook the psychological impact either. Having a guy like Donald in your locker room changes things. He raises the standard. If you're a young defensive player on that roster, you just got the best mentor imaginable. If you're a veteran, you just saw your team make a bold move to win now. And that gives everyone a jolt of belief. Culture wins in the NFL. Talent gets you far, but culture takes you all the way. Donald brings both. He's not a rah-rah guy, but his work ethic is legendary. You can't coast when he's next to you on the line. That accountability will ripple across that entire locker room. From a league perspective, this also massively changes the AFC North. You've already got Joe Burrow and the Bengals, Lamar Jackson and the Ravens, and now this new-look Browns defense enters the fray. It's going to be a war zone in that division. And guess what? Cleveland isn't sneaking up on anyone anymore. They're going to get everyone's best shot, but with a defense like this, that might be exactly what they want. This team has the potential to dominate games on that side of the ball, and if the offense just holds up its end of the bargain, we could be looking at a deep playoff run, maybe even a Super Bowl appearance. Of course, questions remain. Can Donald stay healthy and maintain his elite level of play into his mid-30s? Will he and Garrett mesh well, or will there be ego clashes? How will he adapt to a new system, a new coaching staff, a new city? These are fair questions, and we'll get answers soon enough. But make no mistake, this isn't a gamble. It's a calculated strike by a team ready to win big. Donald is not coming in to ride the bench or mentor from the sidelines. He's coming in to dominate. And if he's anywhere close to the player he's been for the past decade, then God help the rest of the NFL. So what does this all mean for you, the fan? It means the NFL just got a whole lot more exciting. The Browns are now must-watch TV. Aaron Donald isn't just switching teams, he's igniting a new era in Cleveland. We're witnessing a legend adding a new chapter to his story, and you better believe it's going to be dramatic, intense, and unforgettable. If you're not paying attention yet, now's the time. The Dawg Pound just got a lot louder, and the rest of the league, they've been officially put on notice. Let the new age of Browns football begin with Aaron Donald leading the charge. Thanks for riding with us on another Browns Blitz. If you like the video, share it with a fellow fan, hit subscribe, and ring that bell so you're always part of the Dawg Pound conversation. Go Browns!